We got work to do.
Welcome to Highway to Hell, a supernatural podcast. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Christine.
And this week we're talking about Season 4, Episode 10, Heaven and Hell. Oof.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes on.
It's a lot.
I mean, last episode was just like a to be continued, and well, fuck, they fucking continued it. And
I'll say. It's been continued.
Yeah, it has. And if you don't remember, this is the one where Anna remembers her past, allowing Sam and Dean to understand why Castiel and Uriel want her dead. And then Alistair and his demons close in on Anna, Dean, and Sam. Oof.
Also, lots of other shit happens too.
Oh my God. What is it with these two episodes that we've gotten two hot sex scenes in a row? It's crazy.
I love it. And the dichotomy, the demon and the angel. Well, I'll get into all that, but this is fucking, it's knuckin' futz.
It is knucking fucks. Christine, I didn't even realize that. Thank you so much for putting that.
Ooh, girl, you're welcome. I'm all about that analysis.
I love that. Oh man, yeah, we're gonna get into it.
Okay.
But before we do, we have a few quick announcements. If you guys haven't been on our social media, what the hell are you doing? Why aren't you following us at Highway to Hell Podcast?
What are you doing with your life?
You get all the most up-to-date information. We now have a t-shirt out there. We talked about it a few episodes ago, and it's now available for purchase. It's pretty awesome. Christine and I just got ours in the mail, and we've been wearing it and
I love
posted
it.
some pics. Yeah, I
was really excited.
Really cool.
Yeah, it did come out cool, and I was really excited on that website that they have all these different styles. I thought it was just going to be like a t-shirt and the women's version, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of different styles. So I saw a slouchy v-neck and was like, yes, please.
Oh yeah, we know now from like last episode that we love our v-necks.
It's gonna become a thing. This is a thing, and now we have them, and they're super cute, and it makes me really happy.
Yeah, I should just restrict only v-necks can be purchased or something. It's just
sorry, Jeremy, you're
nothing.
SOL.
Right. Oh man.
No, but for real, Jeremy, that'd be awesome if you got a shirt. I'm just saying.
Right.
And I was gonna say we're still thinking about going to the convention that's gonna be in Dallas in June. And now we have our shirts. We can wear our shirts around the convention and represent. It'll be so cute.
That would be amazing. So if some of you are going to be there, I mean, I guess we'll let you guys know if we're actually going to go. I feel like we're going to go. But if you guys are going to be there and you see us in our shirts, say hi.
Yeah, please say hi. We'll take selfies.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, we're going to try and, like, if we do go, we're going to try and take some handouts, some, like, you know, promotional cards or stickers or something with us. So y'all could get some of that too.
Yeah. So that's actually located at tpublic.com/Highway to Hell podcast. But there's also a link on our website, highwaytohellpodcast.com.
And every social media outlet we have.
Yes. Go to it, guys.
Pushing it.
Also, last episode was I Know What You Did Last Summer, an amazing episode. And we didn't mention that we actually did a reaction video for our $5 patrons that's located on Patreon. So that was a really fun reaction video to do because, I mean, as you can imagine, I literally had to turn down the volume during
because I was
Sam
screaming.
Ruby sex scene. Yeah. there was there were screams happening, and I had to okay, I need to bring this down a little bit so we don't bust people's eardrums.
That's awesome.
So that was a lot of fun to watch together, and that's now located on Patreon. Just, wanted to remind you of that and to go to patreon.com / I think also Highway to Hell podcast. We got some really cool stuff going on there. So the director of this episode was J. Miller Tobin. And last time we saw him, he hasn't done a lot, but he's pretty good. He's pretty fucking good.
What were the other episodes he did? Or the last one at least?
The last one was A Very Supernatural Christmas.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Which was a great episode. Enjoy that.
It was directed.
Yeah. It was. And the only other one he had done before that was Born Under a Bad Sign, which was the one where Sam went bad.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Well, Sam didn't go bad. He got a demon inside of him and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like Sam when he's bad.
We'll just say it was Sam.
Right.
Roll with it.
So this was another, we've been really getting a lot of different voices on the writing staff. I don't even know if you can say writing staff because they're just getting people like the stunt coordinator and stuff like that, right?
Hey, who's got an idea? Y'all have any ideas?
Exactly.
Come put them in this ballot box. Drop them in.
For real, though. So, this one was a story by Trevor Sands. He has never... And so it also says teleplay by Eric Kripke. So meaning that the story was by Trevor, but the actual script was written by Kripke. And Trevor Sands does not have any other writing credentials on Supernatural other than this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But here's some facts about him. Over the last decade, Trevor Sands has adapted some of the most acclaimed works of science fiction for the big screen, including the celebrated novels Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons and The $6 Billion Man, among many others. He has sold 2 original screenplays, his sci-fi spec Resurrection, sold to Sony, and his original screenplay Clean Break, which sold to Focus Features, made the annual Blacklist. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Blacklist.
I'm not.
Christine. So basically the Blacklist is an annual survey of the most liked motion picture screenplays not yet produced.
Oh,
so
interesting.
They're out there floating around. Producers looked at them. They love them, but they haven't been picked up yet.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty awesome. Franklin Leonard is a film executive, and he created the Blacklist, and he has a podcast where he gets a group of actors and they read some of these screenplays or act them out with sound effects and everything. It's pretty cool. That
is really cool because then you could, really, if you wanted to try to sell it to a studio, you could use that as part of your pitch. Here's how this would sound or whatever.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And also even though these scripts haven't been picked up, they're still being brought to life through this podcast.
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
So obviously that's a goal, as a screenwriter, right? You would want to get on that. If you want to get on the
blacklist. Well, yeah. But it could lead to potentially getting picked up, because people go there and they're like, all right, these are already pretty good scripts. I don't have it in front of me, but there are some really important blacklist scripts that were picked up as a result of that.
That's
and
awesome.
Produced. Mm-hmm. Cool. So this episode, man, it's named after the Black Sabbath song Heaven and Hell, first off, which I love me some Black Sabbath. I couldn't remember the name of the, even though I couldn't remember the name.
I love that band.
Ozzy's band. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So here's my funny tidbit because Kristen texted me earlier and said, hey, so the episode is named after Ozzy's band song, Heaven
I'm
and
so
Hell.
sorry. It was a tough day for me.
No, yeah, totally understandable. Until I looked it up. Girl, this song was on the album that was the first album that Ozzy was not on in Black Sabbath. He left the year before. And this song was sung by Ronnie James Dio.
Oh my God. So it literally was not
Dio!
Ozzy's band.
No! So
Wow.
it wasn't even Ozzy's band. It was Dio's band.
Well, look at me. I'm just
Hilarious.
red now.
It was so funny. So I saw that and I was like, oh.
Uh-oh.
Not even Ozzy. Okay. So that was
My
pretty
bad.
funny. Yeah, it came out in 1980 on the album also called Heaven and Hell, and Ozzy left in 79.
Well, is it worth playing then if Ozzy's
Yeah.
not on it?
Absolutely,
No,
because
kidding.
leading up to that, Ozzy was not happy with I read out this whole Wikipedia article, let me
I
tell you
love
about
it.
it. So Ozzy wasn't happy with the albums that they were putting out. And then when Dio came back, it was kind of like the comeback of Black Sabbath. So,
Wow.
yeah, so we should definitely play. Oh, and the other fun tidbit is that on that album, like the whole makeup of the band was kind of in flux. So they got Tony Iommi was the guitarist, and he was introduced to Dio and brought him on. And so there was Iommi and Dio, and then the bassist was getting divorced, and they weren't sure if he was going to be able to like be in the band anymore. So they were looking for a different
Mhm.
bassist, and Frank Zappa offered to be the bassist for that album, but they were like, well, it would just be for this album, so no thanks, we're going to look for a more permanent member. But it could have been Frank Zappa on that album too.
That's insane.
I
Oh
know,
my
isn't that
God.
funny?
Yeah.
Love it.
So we're going to play a clip of that. Man,
Pretty good.
that slaps. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. And what a perfect song for this episode.
Yeah, for
Heaven
sure.
and Hell.
The cover art was cool too for the album. It's a bunch of angels sitting around playing cards and smoking cigarettes.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is fucking awesome.
Oh my God.
Should we talk about the other song?
Yeah.
So the other one that
I'm excited to talk about this other song.
Well, I wish I had as much information about it. It wasn't nearly as interesting, apparently, as Heaven and Hell. But okay, guys, the sex scene. It's just, it's just fit perfectly with the song. I don't love Bad Company, but they play them a lot. It's Dean's thing for sure. And
well, and do you remember the last time we heard some Bad Company?
it's been a few times. I don't remember the last one.
Okay, well, I think one of the last times was in Dean's sex scene in Route 666.
Oh, well. Hashtag girl on top.
Or you know what? Actually, no, never mind, because we had heard the Netflix version. Because remember, season 1 had that weird music.
The weird, like, kind of Latin sounding.
Yeah, it was like the the one that always made me dance.
It's kind of salsa-y.
Yeah, but like
we were like, this is weird and doesn't really fit.
No, yeah, it was kind of, I dug it. I mean,
Yeah,
but
you were into
I
it.
had read that the last time he had sex, it was supposed to be a Bad Company song.
That's cool. So, like, is it a Bad Company song every time Dean has sex?
We're gonna have
Does
to
he,
track
like,
that.
just take a shirt off and Bad Company starts playing?
Maybe. Oh my god.
So this is Ready for Love by Bad Company. Came out on the album, also called Bad Company, in 1974.
I want you to stay. I want you to dance. I'm ready for love. Oh, baby, I'm ready for love. Ready for love. Oh, baby, I'm ready for love. Yeah. Oh, for your love.
Bow chicka wow wow.
For real though, that song makes me want to take off my clothes. I get it, man. I dig it.
I can't say that it makes me want to take off my clothes, but I get it. I get it. It's pretty sensual. I was trying to think while we were listening to that, like, what if I took my shirt off, what song would start playing, but I'm gonna have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, I would have to think about that. Mm. We should just, at this end of the episode, we should just have our sex scene songs.
I love it. Okay. Sounds good.
What would play? But I really dug the song. I loved the scene. I liked the song that they played it on. I was really
Yeah, it was perfect
surprised
for the scene, for sure.
by how well, I mean, we're gonna get into that, but that sex scene was pretty long.
I know. It was long.
It was like 5 minutes long or something. It was long. Yeah.
It was definitely multiple minutes. And
Yes.
they really dragged it out. I don't know. It was notable. I definitely just kept going and I was like, all right, I'm just going to sit back.
Yeah, just watch each step in this process.
It's fine. Mm-hmm. Let it unfold.
Yeah.
Unzip, whatever.
Well, we'll get to that part. But first, we get some recap. Lilith, Anna, Pamela Barnes. So we were like,
Fuck yeah.
me. Yeah, hey, we're gonna get some Pamela in here.
Oh, and she's so fucking cool.
She's
so
amazing. Cool. I love her. Uriel, a specialist, if you forgot. And then Alistair. And the angels and the demons want Anna. And we find out that the angels want Anna dead. Right at the end of the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
So the episode begins right after, and we've just learned the news Anna has to die. We get a son of a bitch right off the bat from Dean because he's fucking pissed.
You some heartless sons of bitches, you know that? As a matter of fact, we are.
And they do say something very interesting, that she is far from innocent. And we don't quite know what that means. But then Uriel just throws out another insult, and he's like, it means she's worse than this abomination you've been screwing. Ooh. So it was like, whoa, like they know. So when they were telling or warning Dean, like, hey, you need to ask Sam what he's been up to, they weren't just talking about him using his powers.
No, they were talking about him using something else.
Yes. Yes, they were. They were like peeking. They were like,
I know. Like, how does that work? You know, I get the omniscience, but then, like, what exactly are you looking at?
Yeah, I think that's the thing that always scared me most about religion. It's like, are you watching me take a poop right now? Like, what's going on?
And you know, you gotta save room for Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So
funny.
Dean is ready to step in front of them, and he's like, "You're gonna have to get through us first." But Uriel's like, "What? Or your demon whore is gonna stop us?" And then he slams Ruby against the wall and attacks her. And then this whole exchange is so odd because Dean goes after Uriel to protect Ruby.
Mhm.
And meanwhile, Castiel starts walking towards the back door room in that little shack that they're in because I think Anna has disappeared there. So Sam steps in front of him, but Castiel just holds 2 fingers to Sam's forehead, which completely knocks him out. And he just falls to the floor just like he's fainted.
It's kind of sweet. I wish I could do that.
Yeah. He didn't like hurt him or anything to
No.
either. You know, Uriel is
kinda
just using force.
go to sleep now.
Yeah. And like Uriel, he's obviously way, way more powerful than Dean, and he's about to kill him. I think he's like choking him out. When all of a sudden some lights flash and Casto and Uriel are pulled up like through the ceiling and they disappear. And we also see like a brief flash of their wings when that happens, and it's a pretty cool effect.
Mm-hmm. And I was really confused. Like, what just happened?
Yeah. And then Dean, this is where I was confused. Like Dean just like rushes over to help Ruby up. Like he's so concerned for her.
That is interesting.
It's just such a switch, you know? He went from last episode in the beginning to being like, well, what the fuck are you doing here? I hate you. You're such a bitch. To being like, what? Like, you fucked Ruby? My brother fucked Ruby?
Well, I guess you're all right then.
Yeah, I guess, you know, I can call you sister-in-law now.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It's so crazy. So they go into the room and Anna's like totally bleeding all over the place, but she's drawn a sigil on the mirror with her blood, which she knew somehow that it would make the angels be sent far away.
As
And
soon
it
as
just,
they walked in the room, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
It was really
And it just-
intense. And the blood, too. Like, we haven't really seen stuff like that, right? Like, they
Mhm.
read from textbooks for exorcising demons. They do certain
Yeah.
rituals. We've seen witches do some kind of nasty shit. We haven't seen blood rituals like that unless it's like, Meg with her cup and shit trying to call dad. This is
even when
weird.
Bobby was trying to call Castiel in the beginning of the season, he drew all of those sigils, but it was, you know, with red
Spray
paint,
paint.
or whatever. Yeah. It wasn't with his blood.
No, that's like on another
So-
level. It seems much more like binding or serious or something.
Yeah. And we get the credits right here. So after the credits, Sam and Dean are talking, and, you know, they're kind of just bouncing around ideas. What do they mean that she's not innocent? Dean's thinking there may be something wrong with her. But there's no time to really chit chat about that because the angels may have been sent far away, but who knows how long they'll stay out. And that's a good, you know, thing to think because, I mean, they can travel, I think, with the drop of a hat, you know, like
Mhm.
I
They can
I don't-
teleport.
Yeah, they can teleport anywhere. I don't know exactly where they've been sent far away. Like, have they been sent back to heaven? Is there some sort of process to travel from like heaven to earth? I don't know.
I don't either. That was interesting. It was like, where did they go? That would take them a
Yeah.
while to get back. I just picture them both like flying through the air, like, what the fuck? We got to get back there.
Yeah, exactly. At Bobby's place, they've got Anna in this really cool panic room. The really cool
Yay.
panic room that we had seen. I know, it's so
It's
awesome.
back. It's so cool.
And they explain that it's covered with iron and salt. And Ruby's like, this is racist. I was like,
Whatever,
what?
bitch.
Shut up.
Yeah.
And Dean has an appropriate response. He's like, write your congressman. And she throws him some hex bags and says that she made them extra crunchy to hide them from angels and demons. And then there's like this really awkward moment again where Dean thanks Ruby, like with this extra long stare at her
Yeah.
for the hex bags.
Yeah. He just
It's just
doesn't
like,
know
what
what to do with her. He's just
No. He doesn't have any sort of like in between space of like hating her and like being like super super nice to her.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, and protective apparently too.
Right, there's no medium.
No,
So Sam calls Dean upstairs and apparently Bobby
ooh,
is not
wait,
there.
can I talk about something real quick?
Oh yeah.
That in between, before Sam called him away, Dean was
Mhm.
so sweet to Anna. Like he was already like kind of all over her, like making sure Ruby watched her so she didn't go anywhere. He asked her if she needed anything, like went over and like, you know, talked to her. He was just like so attentive and like super
Mhm.
sweet. And I was like,
Did you already kind of think
yeah. It's like, you're not
something was
usually this
happening
nice,
there?
Dean. To anybody.
Yeah. Only to little kids, I think, usually.
Yeah, that's true. But I was just like, okay. I see.
I know.
What's happening here?
He was really into her already.
Yeah.
But I was really sad that we didn't get to see Bobby, you know? And it
Yeah.
just seems like they're just using him for his panic room. They don't come to
Yeah.
visit.
Yeah.
And they say that he's in the Dominican Republic, though, working a job, unless he's at hedonism in a banana hammock and a trucker cap,
Gross.
which I really liked that image of some Bobby, especially in a banana hammock and a trucker cap. Like that's a look right there.
Just needs a beer in his hand.
Yeah, a Corona.
Yeah.
So Sam did some research on Anna, and he found that her latest psych episode wasn't the first. When she was about 2.5 years old, she had hysterical episodes and was convinced her dad wasn't her dad. And Dean makes a comment like, who was? The plumber? A little snake in the pipes?
Wow.
Although later on we do find out who her real dad is. But they thought she was mad, but she saw a psychiatrist and got better. So Dean says, so what is she hiding? And all of a sudden, Anna appears behind them and says, why don't you just ask me to my face? Which is fair.
Ouch. Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally fair. Hi, here I
Yeah.
am. Just talk to me.
Right. And Dean's kind of like, Ruby, I told you to watch her. And Ruby's standing right there. And she's like, I'm watching her.
I can see her.
Yeah. So they ask Anna why the angel said she was guilty, but she has no idea and would give anything to know. So Sam's like, okay, let's see if we can find out. We see a car drive into Bobby's place, and then Dean leading Pamela downstairs to the basement. I was so excited to see her.
Me
She looks
too.
amazing. Oh, man.
Are you going to describe her eyes?
Yes, I am. Oh, my God.
Fuck!
It's crazy.
It was
Well,
so
first,
cool.
though, I know it was really cool. But first, Sam comes over and Pamela calls out for him. She's like, is that you, Sam? like acting all like she can't see. And she says, of course it's you. You know how I know? And then she slaps his ass because of that little perky ass of yours.
She just wanted to bring it close.
Oh, yeah, she did. And then she goes, same way I know that's a demon. She nods over at Ruby. And that poor kid's Anna. And she looks over at Anna. And that you've been eyeing my rack this entire time.
And Sam does not deny.
No, he doesn't. He's just like embarrassed.
Like, I mean.
So it was nice to see. Like, I think last time we saw her, I mean, she had just had her eyes burned out of her skull.
Yep.
And it was like, wow, this is life-changing for her. Like, this is the end of her life and her career as a psychic. But it was nice to see, like, if anything, she has better eyesight than ever right now. You know, she's doing well.
It didn't slow her down.
No, it did not. So she goes over to greet Anna and tells her that she really wants to get back at the angels. And Anna asks why. And then Pamela says it's because the angels took something away from her. And she raises her sunglasses to reveal these all white eyes. It's
So
crazy.
fucking cool. She looks awesome.
Yes.
I was like, this is like, could you look any more like a psychic? Like, you just look powerful and magical.
And I love what she says about it. She's like, don't worry, they're plastic. Makes me look extra psyche. Good for business.
I mean,
yeah.
it's a look.
For real, though.
It's a look.
It is a look.
And I fucking
For
love it.
sure.
Like, that would be such a cool Halloween costume. Like, if you didn't want to do anything else, you could just, like, dress up like a badass and then put in white contacts that, like, go over your pupil and call it a day.
Dude,
Just
that would
saying.
be crazy. Maybe
so
some
cool.
convention role playing right there.
Oh, that'd be fun. You could just, like, wear your sunglasses around and take them off and fuck with people.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I'm extra psychic-y. So Pamela and Anna go into the panic room.
just like go around like grabbing people's asses like, oh, sorry, I didn't.
I knew it was you.
I'm
I could tell by your
blind, I can't
ass.
see.
To all the Sam Winchesters at the convention. Oh my God.
I mean, as we know, like there are rules in cosplay. You can't just go up and grab people, but it's a character, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
character moment.
Just a funny idea.
So Pamela takes Anna into the panic room, and they've decided that the way to get this information is through hypnosis, which is crazy. I mean, I've never been hypnotized. Christy, have you been hypnotized?
No, I don't think it was hypnosis. I did something a long time ago actually with a medium. And it was sort of more like a meditation. And then she read me. But it wasn't hypnosis.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty fucking cool, actually.
I mean, this shit,
she was right about
works.
everything, by the way. She was right.
Well, there you go. I've told you about my experience with my medium. She was right about everything. But she counts down from 5 to put her into a deep sleep. And Sam and Dean and Ruby are all looking at what's happening. And so Pamela asks Anna, how can you hear the angels? How did you work that spell? And Anna says, I don't know. I just did. And she's obviously still at surface level of her consciousness. And, you know, she continues to ask questions. Your father, what's his name? Anna says, Rich Milton. She says, I want you to look further back when you were young. And then Anna says, I don't want to. And Pamela presses her and says, who's your real dad? Why is he angry at you? And then Anna just starts screaming all of a sudden. She does this like back bend and we hear her back crack. It's so gross. And then the lights all around the panic room start popping and they're emitting sparks. The door closes to the panic room. So now Ruby can't even look inside. And Sam runs over to Anna and then Anna like hits him really hard and she like knocks him all the way to the opposite side, like pretty far.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden Pamela counts down and brings Anna out of hypnosis. And Anna says, you know, she's doing fine after that. And she tells Pamela, thank you. I remember now who I am. And Sam and Dean kind of look
like
at each other like
different.
super worried. Yeah.
Her whole demeanor has changed. Yeah.
A little bit more mature.
Yeah,
maybe,
she seems
like,
more like grounded, calm.
Mm-hmm. And Dean's like, okay, I'll bite. Who are you? And she says, I'm an angel.
Damn.
So what were your thoughts on that, Christine? Like,
Let me tell you, because I wrote
that?
down my immediate thought. Oh man, is Dean going to have a thing with Anna so that he'll be with an angel and Sam will be with a demon? That'd be cool.
There you go.
That was my first thought.
That's awesome.
I just want that, you know, the juxtaposition there.
Well, girl, you got it.
I did.
Although, too bad it wasn't with Castiel. Oh man.
There's still time.
Yeah.
There's plenty of time.
But she's an angel, and
It's crazy.
upstairs she tells him all about it. She explains that she actually used to be the boss of Castiel and Uriel.
How about them
Which
apples?
is- I know, which is fucking awesome. No wonder they hate her. But she disobeyed and fell to earth and became human. So Sam's like, what? So angels can just become human?
So she's
And
a fallen
Annex-
angel, which is really awesome.
Yeah, she's a fallen angel, just like Lucifer. Like she kind of mentions him. But I think the difference is that, and she explains it, is that she ripped out her grace,
She did it
which
to
is
herself,
basically right. It's her angel energy essentially, and she ripped it out and then fell. And her mom, her human mom, couldn't get pregnant, so she impregnated her in this like immaculate pregnancy when she fell to earth, and then she just grew up as a human. It's amazing.
Yep.
It's so interesting.
Yep. That is cool.
Yeah. So Ruby all of a sudden warns them. She says they're looking for Anna, so they're going to find her eventually. She's kind of freaked out by this, like the fact that Anna's an angel. And I think we see later on that Ruby doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Like, although I think that was kind of part of the plan. But
yeah, it may have been actually. But yeah, she did seem that way. Also, what was the part? I've got a funny note about Sam being buff for a nerd. What was it that he said where she was like, "You're pretty buff for a nerd"?
oh, it's in a second. I love that line.
Damn it! Okay, carry on.
So Dean says, "So what? You're just gonna take some divine bong hit and Shazam, you're Roma Downey." And I had to look that up. I was like, "Who's Roma Downey?" But she's an actress who was in Touched by an Angel, and then she also produced the Bible series, on I think not the Discovery Channel, but maybe the Discovery Channel. I forgot.
Interesting.
And they ask, how do we find it? And Anna says she lost track of it since she was falling at literally 10,000 miles an hour. So, which Sam kind of latches onto, and he's like, okay, so physically falling, like for real? And she's like, yeah. And he says, well, then you could have possibly been spotted by the human eye. So, cut to Sam's research. He found that there was a meteor that fell in March 1985 over northwestern Ohio. It was sighted 9 months before Anna was born, and in the same area of Ohio where Anna was born. And then this is where Ruby's like, pretty buff for a nerd.
She's just hitting on him. It's so cute.
It's adorable. I love that line so much. I need it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, he is pretty buff for a nerd.
Yeah, he is. Oh, man. So Sam thinks that was Anna, that meteor. And then another meteor went over Kentucky. So they think that is her Grace. So Ruby's kind of worried because that like literally narrows it down to one state, actually 2 states, but it's really not enough. And she apologizes for getting him into this war between angels and demons. And he says she knows she's scared of angels, and Ruby's like, screw angels. She's freaked by Alistair. That's who she's freaked out by. But Sam doesn't have enough power to take him out. Ooh, and this part's really interesting. He says, how do I tone up? And she tells him that Sam knows exactly what he needs to do to tone up, to get that power to take down Alistair. But he says, no, I'm not doing that anymore.
What is it? What is it? I want to know.
So, I know what it is.
Yeah.
But what do you think it is?
I don't know. I really, my first thought that I wrote down was like, okay, so what does he have to do to get back in shape, to pull out Alistair? And I'm assuming it's something other than just practicing on demons. It's not going to be like what we saw before when he was kind of in training and just practicing on, pulling out lesser demons. I also don't think that it would be banging a Ruby because they're probably still gonna they're still gonna do it. You know,
Like
that's not gonna
he
stop.
draws power
Yeah.
from her with her banking. I love it.
Other than that, I really have no idea because we haven't seen at all how he even was able to use his powers in the first place. Like we don't know
Yeah.
how he was tapping into that.
Mm-hmm.
Just that he was. I don't
Yeah.
know what the mechanism is.
I think that was one of the disappointing parts of the last episode, that we didn't really get a sense of what he's actually doing,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And maybe it's because of that, because they're kind of hiding that reveal on whatever this is.
Yeah, I'll give it some thought, but I don't have anything at the moment.
So outside in the junkyard, Anna's looking at the night sky, and Dean pulls up in the Impala. He's just dropped off Pamela. And after the whole angel thing, after they revealed Anna was an angel, she was a little spooked.
Yeah, she's kind of like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I get it.
And mhm. And Dean asks, what do they want him for? Why did they save him? He asks Anna. And she says she's sorry, but the angels didn't talk about that. And that was after she fell. All of that happened. He asks why she fell, why she wanted to be human. But she explains, like, it's the emotions, loyalty, forgiveness. And she just lists all of this human stuff. And, you know, basically that angels are, they're like emotionless. I mean, we see that with Castiel and Uriel. Like, they have no sense of what it is to be human, and she really loved, you know, the human aspects. And Dean's like, you guys are perfect, powerful. And she says, do you know how many angels have actually seen God, seen his face? She says 4 angels. Only 4.
Although I have to say this doesn't mean anything to me because I don't know how many there are collectively. Are there like 20 of you guys? Or like
Yeah, that's
1,000?
true.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Like what percentage are we talking about here?
I'm curious to know how many angels are like mentioned
In the Bible.
in the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would be interested too. I do not know. Are you going to look it up? While you're doing that, I had some thoughts about this scene too, just because she was like, you know, when she was listing all the human stuff that she envied really as an angel, envied from humans is sex. And then Dean's like, okay, you got me there. And then
Yeah.
she also says forgiveness, which really stood out to me because it was like they can't forgive. And that was something that she wanted.
Yeah.
So that was interesting, as like a quality that humans have that angels don't. And that really stood out to me. And then it also came back later in the episode too.
That's true. And that is really interesting just because it's kind of always been a tenet of Christianity, right?
Yeah.
It's forgiveness.
Absolutely.
But we definitely do see with the angels that there is no sense. It's just right or wrong. And if you messed up, you're out of here. And that's what they did to Anna. So I'm kind of getting like mixed answers, but the first thing that popped up was that there are 7 angels related to the days of the week. So Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Selathiel, Raguel, and Barakiel. But other sources say something different. I think it depends on what Bible you're looking at and all of that stuff.
So there aren't many though.
But no, yeah, like that one says 7, another one that I read says 5, another one says 9. So it's just like listing like a few.
Okay. So 4 out of, we'll say 7-ish angels
Yeah.
have seen God. I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah, that
I
is
mean,
pretty good.
Are all of them supposed to see him? I don't really know how angel politics work either,
Well, it seems very
And why
complicated now.
it does. And like why have some angels seen him but not all? Like
Mhm.
does he have preferences? Does he have
Yeah.
favorites?
I don't know. But um I think that we'll learn that there's I think more than 7 angels
Okay. In this universe.
throughout the span of the series. Yeah. Um although I can't give a count on it. But yeah, I'm curious to know which 4 is it. And it doesn't seem to be Uriel and Castiel. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
I had
because
wondered
if
that
Anna
too.
was their boss and she didn't,
Why would they
then
have?
exactly.
Yeah, and from the little we know about Castiel too, like he's a little bit disenchanted. So I assume that he hasn't, because if he had, he would probably
Mhm.
be more staunch in his beliefs.
Yes. And she does say that's the issue. Angels themselves have to take it on faith that God exists and that they're doing something for good. And they're killed automatically if they don't. And she says the word killed. I wasn't sure if she really meant that or if she meant like that they're banished and
Interesting.
exiled. Yeah.
Killed. Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah. So she was stationed on Earth for 2,000 years. She was just watching and waiting for orders from a father she never heard from. And then Dean kind of chuckles here and he says that that's something that he can relate to.
Yeah, they do have a lot in common. And it was funny, while she was saying all of that, I was like, you're describing Dean, right?
Yeah. That's probably
Bonding
why they
moment.
boned.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And how interesting for her too to find in a human that kind of understanding.
Yeah. So at that moment, Sam walks up behind them and says he found something. So once inside, he shows them evidence of accounts of a local miracle in Union, Kentucky. In 1985, in a just a normal field, all of a sudden a giant oak appeared. And it was interesting because it showed that this grace, instead of destruction like a meteor would have done, it resulted in pure creation. And kind of Anna too, like it created life as
Yeah.
well.
That's
You
pretty
know?
cool.
So the entire team is on the way there in the Impala, and Dean and Sam are sitting in the front, and Angel and Anna and Ruby are sitting in the back seat. And Dean kind of chuckles and he's like, "Oh, an angel and a demon in the back seat."
You can see
Sounds
them
like
in
a
the rear
setup to
view
a
sitting next to each other.
yeah. They look kind of awkward next to each other.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is either a setup to a bad joke or a Penthouse forum letter." And Sam's like, remember porn, reality, not the same thing?
Right.
Yeah, just a good reminder. So they get to Union, Kentucky, and they get to this field, and there's this beautiful Lion King-esque tree in the middle of the field. It's enormous. And they go up to it, and Sam asks what exactly they're looking for. But Anna touches it and she's like, it doesn't matter because it's not here anymore. Someone took it. So they went there for nothing. So cut to a shack, a barn, another one.
Again.
Is this a different one? I have no idea. I have no clue.
They just are really good at finding these abandoned hovels.
Yeah, for real. So they're just arguing, and Ruby says they can't fight heaven and hell. And Anna tells them that she's hearing something from the angels, and it says Dean Winchester gives us Anna by midnight, or we hurl him back to damnation.
They pull a Voldemort.
Oh yeah, they did.
Give
they totally
me
did.
Harry Potter.
They use the fact that Anna can hear
Yeah.
to great effect.
You don't have to die for your friends.
And
so
Sam
good.
asks if there's anything that can hurt an angel, but she doesn't know. Dean wants to call Bobby so that he can come back from the Dominican Republic. But really, all they need to do is think of something really fast.
Mm-hmm. That's going to take too long.
Mm-hmm. So here it is outside. Dean is looking at some papers on the hood of his Impala. And Anna comes over him. She thanks him. And she says, maybe I shouldn't be saved. She says Lucifer disobeyed just like her. And, he went to hell. Like he was a bad dude. Maybe she's a bad dude as well.
She's a bad
She
dude.
tells...
He's a bad dude. We're all bad dudes. Hey. Sorry, that was my, all that reference. Fucking Keenan and Kel. I can't. I'm just...
I
I'm
fucking
a
love
dude.
Keenan and Kel.
He's a dude. She's a dude. So we're all dudes.
Because we're
Hey.
all dude. Hey,
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
This is where I'm at
That's
right
right. You did mention last episode that you were a Nickelodeon kid. So
I
you should
was.
know. You should know all that,
now. Yeah.
man.
Good Burger is in my DVD collection.
I think my favorite was Repairman, man.
Oh, it's so good.
That was my favorite skit.
Good
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good tangent.
So she tells him that she heard the angels talking about what Dean did in hell. And she knows, and he should really forgive himself. And he says he can't talk about that. And we get some misty eyes here because he's so upset about it. He's so hurt by it, by what he did. And she says she knows, but there are people who can talk to him. And then all of a sudden she kisses him.
So good.
Yeah. And
I
then,
was like, yeah, they're going to bang. Cool.
oh, hell yeah. And they get into that back seat of the Impala. And
I love that too. I was like, where are they going to go? The Impala. What a great setting.
It really was. But it was interesting because it was like such a, I don't know, like an informal way to do an angel,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But I did skip over this one part. Like she kisses him and then he goes, what was that for? And she's like, last night on Earth or whatever. And he's like, you're stealing my best line.
So cute.
It is really cute. It's cute banter between them.
Yeah, they're great. I really could get into like a Dean and Anna thing.
Yeah, it's really adorable. And the camera really loves it as well because, like, as we mentioned, it spends so much time. Like, it just shows them like making out in the back seat. She takes off her shirt. He takes off his shirt. They make out some more. We get some nice Dean back action.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we got some nice Sam back action in the last one.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, they the camera goes to the outside of the Impala and the windows are all foggy and someone's handprint just goes on the window and drags down. So it's basically a Titanic moment.
A total Titanic moment.
Yeah, it really, really is.
It was great. I just felt like it was such a good sex scene because it was like tasteful for TV. Like it was what it needed to be for television, but it was still super hot.
Yeah, it totally was. And it was funny because when I was on Supernatural Wiki, they had this photo of Dean or Jensen Ackles in an ad for Titanic merchandise. Yeah. So it was like, oh, by the way, speaking of Titanic, Jensen Ackles was in an ad for for a necklace inspired by the movie Titanic. And it's
He's just holding the blue necklace that she has.
It's literally Jensen in a jean jacket of all things for this ad.
Yeah, that is so crazy.
with this super 90s hair holding the blue diamond, sapphire diamond that Rose wears in Titanic, with a picture of the Titanic behind him. It's fucking ridiculous. It's only 1995. It
That's the
says.
hottest news. Because it's obviously like playing off of him. Like he's supposed to be the hot guy modeling this necklace. It says, and here's the hottest news. It's only 1995. And it
Yeah.
says,
The caption.
Yeah, you read it.
Yeah. It says, hot. Hollywood heartthrob Jensen Ackles, star of Days of Our Lives, shows off the blue heart jewel, the necklace every girl wants. Oh my God.
that's awesome.
But also, it's kind of weird that there was like merchandise for the Titanic movie. Like,
you know, I guess I sort of forgot. I mean, I know it was a big fucking deal.
no, like I know it was a huge deal. I can just imagine
So I
if
guess
I didn't,
Yeah.
just posters of Leo
Oh.
everywhere.
Yeah. So
You know.
I guess I sort of forgot or like didn't, realize at the time that they were like capitalizing on that in every way possible. There was
Yeah.
probably just Titanic shit everywhere.
Right? But like what a sad and tragic thing to to capitalize on. Oh man.
Wear Rose's blue heart necklace.
I
Wow.
mean, I would. Oh my God. But also, how many girls pose naked with that blue heart necklace?
That is a very good question. A lot.
A lot. And then said, "Draw me like you do your French girls,
Like
Jack."
one of your French girls. I love it.
Oh my God. So, before we end the sex scene, they do kind of go back to this one moment where like she spots the handprint on Dean that Castiel left there.
Oh, I
and she
love
like
that.
places her hand on it, over it. And then they continue making out.
Mhm.
So sweet.
And she got on top. They switched places.
Oh yeah, they did. So they were just
Mhm.
they were yeah. They did all of it.
Mixed it up.
Yeah. So inside the shack, Sam is asleep and Ruby looks over at him and she's like super creepy. I guess she doesn't sleep or whatever.
Such a creeper.
Yeah. And she walks outside and burns a hex bag. And she's like looking around and it's this really cool like camera panning around her. And all of a sudden, Alistair appears. He holds up the demon knife and asks her if she's looking for it. But she says no, she just wanted to talk. She wants to give up Anna in exchange for her and the Winchester boys to walk away free. But all of a sudden, two demons appear and grab her. And Alistair says he's going to give her a counter offer.
I just felt like as soon as she burned that hex bag and Alistair showed up, I mean, it made more sense later when we know what is going on here, but I was immediately like, this is particularly dumb of Ruby.
Yeah. She's usually like very, very careful.
Uh-huh. And it just seemed like, I don't know, just a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she's so scared of him and he's so big, like, you wouldn't want to call him. But, obviously all was revealed in due time. But I was like, this doesn't seem like a good plan.
Yeah. And I at first I kind of thought I got it just because she was like, why the fuck are we dealing with this angel shit? She's been like that throughout season 4. Like she just doesn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
It made sense to me because it was like, okay, Ruby's just kind of like picking sides now.
Mm-hmm.
She's on their side,
The
but
demon side.
yeah, and they're fighting Lilith. They're not fighting angels,
Mm-hmm.
So then we see Dean walk into the shack and it's completely empty except for Uriel. And Dean kind of realizes that he's dreaming. And Uriel says it's the only way to talk to him since he's hiding like a coward. So even though they can't get to them because of the hex bags, Uriel is still able to reach out to him through his dreams. I'm guessing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm guessing Ruby like just destroyed the one hex bag that had like made the demons stay away, but the hex bag for the angels is still in play.
Yeah, that's a good call. That makes sense to
Yeah.
me. I hadn't thought about that, but I'm sure you're right. But I was going to say that's such an interesting concept for him to be able to see him in his dreams,
Mm-hmm.
because that's also something that we as humans who seek reassurance um, from faith
Mm-hmm.
have, that's something that we have kind of created, as like something that could happen. If God or an angel or someone visits you in your sleep, like that's a concept, that's a thing, and that's definitely happening
Yeah.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, it just reminds me of like, I've heard of people's experiences where they get some kind of like closure in a dream, like someone who passed away visits them or something like that. And it just seems to kind of be in line with that same idea.
Yes.
We're saying that it's
And
possible in this universe. So that's interesting that it sort of like gives credence to like what people want, you know?
yeah. And it does like to your first point, there are instances where a person does see an angel, right? When they have like a vision when they're awake, but also there are dream visions and you know, yeah, exactly. We can see that this is what it looks like
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So Uriel says that Castiel is not here since he likes Dean. But it's interesting though because Dean actually says like asks Uriel where his boss is. So he like mentions that Castiel is now the boss. I guess
Yeah.
he took over Anna's place, right? Since she's been gone. Um, and Dean bluffs and says that they'd better be careful since Anna has her grace back and is at full power. But Uriel pulls out a necklace from his shirt and holds it up. And he's like, yeah, right, because I have it right here.
Fucker.
I know. And then he says this really weird thing. He goes, you cut yourself a slice of angel food cake? Why would he say that?
Give me a fucking
I
break, dude.
don't get his writing at all. Like
I
he
don't,
says
yeah, I don't
things
really either. Yeah.
like mud monkey and demon whore and then angel food cake. Like why does
Yeah.
he know what angel food cake is? you know?
Yeah.
Why does he know that?
Yeah, it is strange. I agree. He says weird things.
And then Dean's like, what do you care? You're junkless, right? Like a Ken doll.
Okay, but are they?
I don't know. I don't
Are they?
think so.
Because she's like, Anna was telling him like angels don't, like sex doesn't enter into it. So why would they need genitalia?
That's true. Okay, so like when they're in angel form, they're
Right.
they're probably yeah. They're probably junkless. Yes.
Is it smooth?
And
That's weird.
is it smooth? But also like I read on Supernatural Wiki that this might be also a reference to Dogma. Have you seen that movie?
I have, yeah.
Kevin Smith's, yeah. So like I think in that particular movie, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are the ones playing the angels.
Yes.
And they do state that they are junkless. They have
had-
no genitalia.
Totally forgotten that. That is so funny.
Man, I haven't seen that movie in so long, but I loved it.
We should
I
watch
loved it
it.
so much. We should. Man, it was the best.
Alanis Morissette is God. So
Yeah, she is.
You know.
And
It's
I forgot.
It's really a documentary.
It sure is. I forgot who's the demon, but they're really into hockey. I know that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to.
HE double hockey sticks. So
good.
Dean tells him he thinks he's bluffing about throwing him back in hell. But Uriel says their plans are bigger. He can be replaced. So what the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
The fuck are you
Um,
talking about, dude?
Yeah. What are these big plans? And Dean's like, what the hell? Just do it, and he's just like standing there, just fucking go, man. And then he says, I don't break easy. And then Ural's like, yes, you do. You just got to know where to apply the right pressure. Bum, bum, bum. What the fuck is that? Also cuts to Ruby screaming because she's getting some nasty pressure applied to her.
Oh my god. So I did sort of already assume that he meant Sam because we know that Dean doesn't really have a lot of weak spots. Sam is like his Achilles heel. So
Mhm.
I thought that's what he meant. And what was the line where Dean said that he was a pain in the pooper?
I don't remember that part.
I really enjoyed that line.
Well, he is.
I was
He
like,
sure
yeah,
is.
fuck you, Uriel. You're a pain in the pooper.
Well, and we can see though that there's this kind of theme of torture when we cut to Ruby, and
This
we
was
do find out
majorly intense.
it was, yeah. But we do find out at the very end like what Uriel's statement really means.
Mhm.
That Dean knows exactly where to apply the right pressure.
Yeah.
Because he's done this before.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry. Go ahead and I'm gonna call back to something else whenever this is done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this part's really intense. Ruby's tied up to some board. She's naked, completely naked, and she's like bleeding profusely. Her eyes are black, which is really interesting that happens when she's in pain. And Alistair is just cutting into her with a demon knife. He's taunting her, trying to get information from her. And he's got a leather strap on her mouth, which has like all of these different sigils on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's going to remove it, but don't go smoking out. You won't get far.
Fucked
So that's
up.
interesting. Yeah, I know. Super fucked up. But also interesting that like the sigils, like they're able to contain them in their mouth like that,
Uh-huh. And then it was earlier in the episode where Ruby was describing that she was like scared of Alistair. She said that he was Picasso with a razor.
Ooh.
And now
So I
we
wonder
see
if this
why.
is. Yeah.
It's true. He is.
Yeah.
Just
Fuck.
super fucked up.
It
Because I didn't know what
is.
she meant by that. I was like, wait, like literally? Like, is physical torture a thing for demons here? Or is she just, speaking figuratively? No, it was literal.
Yeah. And it sounds by like what we hear later on that he's kind of like he's like if there's a hierarchy in hell, like he's in charge of the Department of Torture, basically.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So Alistair asks for her to tell him where the angel is, and she says no, since it'll kill her immediately, but she'll show him. And so I guess I assumed that when Ruby walked out of the barn, she, I guess, teleported somewhere else to show, so that she didn't like lead him back there.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what happened.
Yeah, I guess so.
So at the barn, it's daytime now, and Sam is freaked out that Ruby isn't there. Dean is like already drinking, and Anna makes a comment about it and asks if he's okay.
He does not seem okay.
No, he doesn't. I mean, you would think he was doing better. He got a little bit of intimate time. But yeah, he's freaked out by the dream. Like, no, that didn't go very well.
No.
Castiel and Uriel come in real drama again. Like the barn doors just swing open and then they come in and then they swing shut right after them.
They don't do door handles.
No, they don't. And Sam asks how they'd find them, and Cass looks at Dean, and Sam and Anna realize it was him, like that Dean called Cass. And I mean, this must be why he's drinking, right? Like
Yep,
Dean,
that's
he says
exactly
sorry
why.
to Anna. Aw, and
Poor
Anna
baby.
knows it's because they gave him a choice, right? So Uriel must have said this before the dream ended. Like, they kill her or kill Sam.
Yeah, his Achilles
Yeah, so
heel.
like, applying the right pressure.
Yep.
So she kisses Dean.
Yeah, she totally understands. Like, I love that she was just like, oh God, I'm this scene between them, like he's just fucking torn up. He feels horrible because he obviously cares about her and is just stuck in this impossible position, but she understands and forgives. She's human
Yes.
and uses her forgiveness the way that she always wanted to.
Yeah. Oh,
Fuck.
it's so sweet.
Yeah.
And I kind of, because we lock in on Cass after Anna kisses Dean. It's kind of like he is jealous.
I
He's a little
felt like
jealous.
I could totally see it that way now. But knowing that she was forgiving him in that moment, and that's what Castiel was seeing, and that's something that he can't do. I felt like he was like envious of that, of being able to forgive.
Yeah, I like that. No, and in all seriousness, I took it more like I thought he thought it was interesting that that they had shared an intimate moment when she was an angel, and that this was such a human moment for them, and he probably had no concept of what that looked like before, and here it was happening in front of him.
Yeah. That's a good one.
And
Dean's face, like he's just a mess.
yeah, and she tells him, he did the best he could. And she walks up to Castiel and Uriel and she says, "No more tricks, no more running, I'm ready." And Castiel apologizes, but she doesn't take it. So it's crazy, he actually does say sorry.
Mm-hmm. But it's like he's trying to emulate something he doesn't understand, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, just mimicking without actually like knowing what that is.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if it's possible for angels to feel that and understand it eventually if they are given the chance to.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know.
It seems like Anna's
Or
situation.
he just wanted to be part of the I'm sorry club and I forgive you, like.
Yeah.
No.
I want to do that too.
Yeah. Look, see, I can forgive.
Right. But all of a sudden, Alistair appears, the two demons carrying an injured Ruby also. And he says, "Don't touch Anna. Like, she's mine." The two demons drop Ruby and she like crawls to the side. She's totally hurt. And then Alistair faces off against Castiel and Uriel. And he says, "Sure, just give us the girl. We'll make sure she gets punished good and proper." I really love this dialogue. And then Castiel's like, "You know who we are and what we will do. I won't say it again. Leave now or we lay you to waste." And Alistair's like, "Think I'll take my chances."
So I'm sorry. I was just thinking back. I saw one of my notes about when Dean was visited by Uriel in his dream. And in that conversation, okay, so it was when Uriel was like kind of getting to him and was saying, you need to give her up. And he like threatened to put him back in hell. Dean told him to basically to go fuck himself, which was huge to me because Dean was like sacrificing himself for Anna. Like he made that decision in that moment to say, "I would rather go back to hell than let you take her," which is huge.
Yes, it is.
I was like, what the fuck? And then thinking back, we had read that fanfic a while back where Dean was sort of classified as sacrifice, and I was like, this fits in even more perfectly, and it wasn't even used as an example.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always like trying to be the martyr, essentially. But I guess we just had thought that he only wanted to do this for Sam.
Right.
But here we're seeing, okay, no, it's like he would give himself up for anybody potentially.
I
Just
mean,
as long as
potentially
it's
she is
doing
like a
good.
really hot angel, but
Yeah, and they had this intimate moment and everything. But
basically it's like, whoa, he's not gonna let him. He's the
mhm.
barrier, right, between this dick and taking Anna.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So back to this scene. I just had
Yeah.
that thought earlier and was like, what the fuck?
Well, the angels and demons just start fighting. And it's interesting because they kind of just start punching each other. You know, they're not fighting
But
with
it's
any
like
sort of
mega
like special
punches.
powers. It is like you can tell like they're really powerful. Castiel places his palm on Alistair's head and he's trying to do something, but it doesn't work. But Uriel does the same thing to the other demons and it totally works. It basically just completely exorcises them. And it's like this bright light, kind of like the demon knife. So they're able to just do that. So that I think that's new information right there.
Yeah, for sure. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And Alistair starts saying some Latin on Castiel. Like he's trying to like exorcise him as well.
I
some
don't
way.
know. I don't know what this is supposed to do. What is he doing to him?
I have no idea. But it's working. Like it's making Castiel weaker or something.
So weird.
So like Dean has to intervene and he hits Alistair with a crowbar. And then Alistair starts choking him and Sam with, his powers. And Uriel takes out the other demon, but he's distracted. So Anna grabs his necklace, throws it on the floor, and her grace is let out and it flows into her like bright white light.
Which is so interesting because it's kind of like the demons, right? It like goes in through her mouth. It's the same device, basically. Like it looks exactly the same. It's just like a bright kind of blue light that goes in through her mouth.
Yeah.
So I wonder too, like if he had continued doing that spell to Castiel, if his grace would have been exorcised out of his mouth.
I don't know.
Does that happen? Just a thought that I just had right now because I was thinking about how it like went into Anna. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened. Because I was just assuming that he wasn't exercising him in a way of like taking out his grace, but taking the angel out of the body, out of the human body, just kind of like a demon is being taken out of the human body that they possessed, when they're exorcised.
Yeah, and I guess that's two different things.
Yeah, but we haven't seen what that looks like when an angel like takes over someone's body. So it could have looked similar or something, or had that same mechanism as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't know.
But this,
I mean,
like,
I can't say that I'm convinced that they're not the same thing.
What the grace?
Yeah. What if the grace basically is the angel? Because without the grace, she wasn't an angel anymore. She fell to earth and had to, like I guess she was able to keep her consciousness, but not really either. The longer she was human, she was losing that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what they look like when they're not in a body.
Yeah. And a human body. Yeah, we don't really have a concept of what that looks like and how that works.
No.
What I can say is we will learn more about how the grace works.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff. But like this is really weird, like it actually going inside of her because it's kind of like building. It's like, okay, get ready. Like she's like
overloading.
Yeah. And she tells them like to shut their eyes. And then all of a sudden the light just bursts out of her and she like explodes. And Alistair and her disappear. They gone. And then Dean picks up the demon knife from the floor. And Uriel's like super pissed but he and Castiel just disappear also.
That was nuts. I still don't really know what happened, but she did something.
She did. And we don't really get any sort of conclusion to her story here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I I think we'll see her again, but it was just kind
I
of
think
like,
they said something. There was one little line where they said something like about her still being out there and they had to find her now or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that like in the next scene, Dean says, "Where was Ruby?" And because he's like, "You took forever," and she jokes she was busy being tortured. And then Dean tells Sam that his plan was pretty good, bring angels and demons together so that they focus on each other instead. And that is a pretty good plan.
Yeah, it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah. Pretty buff for a nerd.
Takes the focus off of you. Let them hash it out.
And God damn it, I don't understand my note here. But it says, guess she's a big demon now. Maybe I meant to write, guess she's a big angel now? Thinks she's happy? And Dean says, I don't think so. Yeah, that's what I meant to write.
Okay.
Uh-huh. So yeah, maybe that's
Yeah.
the comment that they had.
I don't
She's
know. I'll
out
have to
there.
look it up because I thought I remembered something specific. But let me see while you're doing that.
Yeah. But she's just, I mean, she just has all of these angel powers now.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if it does affect her differently, though, now that, like, this human body is hers. But perhaps not. I don't know.
I don't either. And like, if she's now a real angel and has her grace back and all that good stuff, like, I don't know how that affects the body that she's already in. Oh, yeah. So she says, shut your eyes, and then she disappears and leaves behind the demon knife. And then Dean says to Castiel and Uriel, well, what are you guys waiting for? Go get Anna, unless, of course, you're scared. So she went somewhere, and they would have to go get her. I was like,
Yeah,
what? Where did she go?
And they're just telling them, like, go and get after her.
Yeah.
So you can leave us alone.
Right. Go away now.
So, yeah, that is really interesting.
Don't know where that ended up, but okay.
They're just dealing with their angel shit now, I guess. And Sam and Dean are just dealing with their human stuff. We see them drinking a beer, kind of sitting against the Impala. And Dean says, I know you heard him. Alistair, what he said about how Dean had promise, excuse me. And Sam is curious about that, but Dean's not talking about hell and he's not pushing it. And they sit there for a little bit, like in silence. And then Dean just starts talking. And he says, it wasn't 4 months, Down there was more like 40 years.
Confirmed.
So, yeah, totally confirmed for us. It was actually that amount of time that he was down there.
Ugh.
It's fucking nuts.
It's awful.
And also just even worse because he says this was his life. They sliced and carved and tore at me in ways that until there was nothing left. It's insane.
Over
and then suddenly
over again.
Yeah, I would be whole again like magic just so they could start all over.
Ugh.
It's so horrible. Poor baby. No wonder he's drinking and super upset all the time.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it gets worse.
Yeah. So Sam gets misty eyes at this point. And he says, Alistair, at the end of every day, would make Dean an offer to take him off the rack if he started to put souls on that rack and started to torture them. And every day he said no. For 30 years, he said no every single day. But then he couldn't do it anymore. And then Dean starts crying. So he started ripping them apart. And he says, I lost count of how many souls. And Sam tells him, look, he held out for 30 years. That's longer than anybody would have. And Dean just cries. And he's like, how I feel this inside me, I wish I couldn't feel anything, Sammy. Oh, this is so sad.
I know. Rip my fucking heart out and stomp on it.
For real. Oh my God.
It's just heart-wrenching. And we get it, right? I get it now. Like, we knew it was bad because he wasn't talking, and it's hell. There's no way it could be good. But this image that's painted of his existence for 30 years, like thinking about, I just turned 31. So like my entire life so far, every day of that entire time would have been spent being ripped apart over and over and over again. At what point, like, Dean is so good. He's so good. He held out as long as he possibly could to not be on the other side. But at what point are you just like, I can't do this anymore? You know, it makes sense. Like, that's the whole point, I guess, is for them to try to break you. I don't know. Like, there's no good angle here because it's hell. So no matter what, I guess your life is torture. Whether you're being physically tortured or what you're being made to do is torturous. I don't know that there would have ever been a good solution.
Because even that, like, even the fact that Dean then was turned around and would have to torture these individuals is torture for him as well.
Absolutely.
You know, but a different form of torture.
Yeah. And I think that actually upset him a lot more than being on the receiving end. Because he doesn't want to hurt people. Dean's a good person. He doesn't want to hurt people. Innocent souls. And it's, you could kind of tell, like, when he was talking about it, he got more upset and was really crying, like, describing what he did. Yeah, he was scared, I think, of being judged also. Yeah, for sure. And I can see why.
Yeah. And it also sucks because Uriel was basically like judging him and making fun of him this entire time,
such a fucking dick, dude.
Yeah,
How could an angel be that big
exactly
of a
what
dick?
happened.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Fuck him.
So it's so sad. And we end this episode with one misty eyes on the tracker for Sam, one misty eyes, and then one like actual tears for Dean, and then one son of a bitch for Dean.
It's a lot.
Quite an eventful episode for sure.
Yeah.
And we get some sex and some angels and demons fighting. I mean, it's a lot.
Plot reveals.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I did want to touch on the fact that if you remember the episode Yellow Fever about Dean, the idea of Dean being a dick and that was the reason why he had been attacked by this ghost sickness. We had seen in an interview with Kripke that he stated actually it wasn't that Dean is a dick. It's because of what you find out in episode 10 of this season. So basically Kripke is alluding to the fact that he was attacked by this ghost sickness because
of what Dean he did in hell.
Used this torture in hell.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Which is horrible.
Awful.
And I know. And you actually had a prophecy on that you believed Dean was using the fear of God, but wasn't quite that. Was
Kind of the opposite.
kind of Satan,
Right.
in fact.
The fear of Satan. God damn it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's horrible, though. It really is.
Yeah. That's just, mind blown.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude.
So, what are your thoughts for the ranking?
I really liked this episode. I wanted to watch it again as soon as it was over. The Dean parts of this were so good. And it was just really hard hitting all around. I definitely think it's up there. I don't know what you're thinking as far as actual number.
I really liked this episode too, and I can see it towards the top. I think my thoughts were at looking at the list that we have right now, that the top 5 for me are really, I feel like were all hard-hitting episodes that had more meaning for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see, like, if you, for example, because we have I Know What You Did Last Summer, the last episode at number 3.
Yeah.
And that for me, maybe because I'm a Sam person, and maybe because you're a Dean person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that one was more meaningful for me. And so I liked that one better. But
yeah, see, that's funny because I was even thinking about putting it at the new number 3 and bumping that one down one.
that's so funny.
Yeah. Maybe it is because I'm a Dean girl.
But we can definitely agree then, though, that it's better than number 4 and below, right? Because number 4 is No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in my opinion.
Yeah. Especially with what we kind of like remember with that episode. It's like just the last 5 minutes are top notch, and the rest of it is kind of like, okay.
What happened again?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
are we going to argue about this?
I'm kind of looking at my notes
Are we going to throw
again.
down?
Right? Like, is it just at this point, like, which sex scene was hotter, or?
Well, I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't know. I mean, the Dean sex scene was kind of more like making love, like ready for love. And then the Sam sex scene was like, let's fuck.
Let's get to business. I want you inside me. Literally.
Immediately.
Yes, it's warm inside, Sam.
It's soft.
It's soft.
Oh, man.
Yes. True. I was just kidding about that. But I mean, I looking at it, I can see that this episode does a lot more. I mean, last episode,
yeah,
we met Anna. Yeah, we were kind of building this story, but there was a lot of flashback, right? Nothing really happened. They were able to get Anna to a safe place, and that's about it. But this episode, we, for the first time ever, see an angel and demon battle, and that's pretty epic.
Yeah, it is pretty epic. Yeah, a lot more happens, and our little Scooby gang, gets one over on Alistair. They figured out a way to beat this situation. They kept Anna away from Castiel and Uriel. So even though, like, we're all kinds of, like, scarred right now, this is a win. This is a big win.
It is for them. And I was kind of surprised that Ruby went for it, just because she's usually not for
their ideas ever.
Yeah, that. And also, like, just like risky plans that they usually have. And this was really risky. It could have just not gone their way. Alistair could have been like, no, I'm going to keep you here forever, you know?
Yeah.
But so for those reasons,
she just walked into the lion's den.
Yeah. But yeah, for those reasons, I can see it being the new number 3 and above I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Really?
I totally can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yay.
I think Sam's Pretty Hot isn't a good enough answer. Good enough reason.
It's not a bad one. I'll give you that. And you know, like comparing the sex scenes, like I said, like if I had to choose a favorite, I think it actually would be Sam's. But you know,
yeah,
muscles,
of course, V-necks, you know.
But it was so good. I don't know. This episode, it just did so much. It was one of those where they just packed a lot in. And, you know, we kind of talked about it already, but we kind of got every element. There was like the emotional, the plot. I don't know, just everything.
It was everything.
Cool.
So, Heaven and Hell is going in as a new number 3. And this one's going in the trunk.
That
awesome.
felt good.
I know, man. We're almost to like mid-season. It's exciting.
That's crazy.
We got some really great episodes, and we're building the storyline.
I just got so excited because, like, y'all being like Supernatural fans who have seen more than I have, talk about season 4 as a whole as being so great. And I'm not even halfway through the season, but we just finished season 3, which was only 16 episodes. So it feels like I'm coming up on the end of the season already. And then it's like, nope, psych. There's a lot more, and it's all really good too.
I know, man. It was so nice kind of having that condensed because you're like, okay, what's going to happen? I'm going to figure it out. But at the same time, we get a lot more story in season 4, and that's exciting. And they're doing such a good job. Like the writers are on it.
Yeah, it all fits. It's much more satisfying than the like special child story that we were trying to follow the first 2 seasons. And, you know,
yeah,
it just
way
does
better.
a lot better.
So the next episode, though, we're going to take a little break from the hard action, and it's just a Monster of the Week episode called Family Remains.
That's good. My heart can't take it.
I know. What
give
if
me
they
some
were
breathing
like,
room.
oh, and in addition to that, Dean had to torture a baby, you know, like they were just going to keep on upping it.
He was in the children's ward of the torture department.
Oh my God. But also a baby wouldn't be in hell.
I would hope not. Fuck.
Jesus. Wow. Well, you guys can find us on Highway to Hell podcast at gmail.com. All of our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is at Highway to Hell podcast as well. You guys can email us at highway to hell podcast at gmail.com. Did I just say that? No, I didn't. I said .com, but not gmail.com.
Okay.
But yeah, email us, and we want to get some more of your thoughts so we can make another mini-sode. Those have been really fun and really exciting. Tell us about what your thoughts are on all of this. Did you like the Ruby Sam sex scene? Did you like the Dean and Anna sex scene? Which one's better? I think I know. Tell us some stories about your conventions, you know, what you've done and stuff like that. Just talk to us. You can also leave us a voicemail at 908-516-HELL, 908-516-4355. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Check out our Patreon. And of course, if you can't support us on Patreon, please leave us a rating and review. It's really important. It's like ups our things so that people can find us better. So like the more ratings and reviews we have, the better people are able to find us.
Yeah, we're more easily
searchable. It's like a whole algorithm. So please do that for us. It would be really awesome.
Thanks. It's free for you.
Yeah.
If you can't
It
donate like
is.
$1 or $5 for Patreon.
Exactly. Just donate a few words.
But priceless to us.
And I think that's it. So thank you guys. Until next time, we'll see you on the highway to hell.
Bye.
Bye. Kristen here, bringing you what we promised, which was our top songs on our quote-unquote sex playlist, making love playlist, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to start off with my pick. The song is Passenger by the Deftones. Amazing song. And actually, it really fits in well with this episode, Heaven and Hell, because it's all about doing it in the car. And it really should have been playing while Anna and Dean made love in the Impala. So here's a little taste of that.
Surfaces, these and other lucky witnesses to call me. This time, won't you please? Roll the window down this cool night. Air is curious. Let the whole world look in. Who cares? Who sees anything? I'm your passenger. I'm your passenger.
Okay, let's move on to Christine's choice. So she chose Black Number One by Type O Negative, and she's been telling me about this band for a while. And after hearing this song, I am absolutely in love, and I'm gonna check out more of their stuff. So Christine also wanted to add that this song should totally be playing during a thunderstorm. So we're going to go ahead and close out the episode with this song. And just so that we can get you in the mood for when exactly this song should be played, I'm going to add a little bit of something.
I went looking for trouble. And boy, I found her. She's in love with herself. She likes the dark. And on her milk white neck, the devil's mark. Now it's All Hallows Eve. The moon is full. But will she trick or treat? I bet she will. She will. N04E10